Hey, good morning. This is meteorologist Trent McGill. Is this Colonel Doug Wheelock?
Hi, Trent. How are you? Yeah, this is Doug Wheelock. It's great to talk to you this morning.
I'm doing fantastic. Great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're having a couple little audio, little speed bumps really quickly. Would you mind talking to us for, just keep talking to us. Tell us your name. And
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Trent. And you said Trent, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. It's great to be with you. It's great that I'm talking to a meteorologist because I was up on the space station for 6 months through the summer of 2010. And we had some big hurricanes, and that was the kind of the advent of Twitter from the space station. So I was taking pictures of the hurricanes that season from space and sending them down. And I was talking to my mom, and who hung up on me the first couple times I called her from space. She hung up on me, but because there's a little bit of a delay. But
all right, we're good now.
She said,
"I saw." All cleaned up.
Okay, great.
Oh man, sorry, we're limited on time here, but your mom hung up on you from space.
She did, and then she said, I talked to her. She goes, I saw a picture on the Weather Channel of your picture of the hurricane from space. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
My claim to fame.
Man. I took that photo. So switching it back to being in space and stuff like that. What is this next mission that we're talking about? The Artemis mission. What is that? Can you tell me about that?
Oh, yes. Well, we know a little bit about it, of course. So Artemis in Greek mythology, is the twin sister of Apollo. And so our mission, our Artemis, is our next great adventure in space exploration. And by 2024, we'll see the first woman and the next man on the surface of the moon. And so we're very excited about it. All of that testing, all of that hardware is coming through Ohio as well, and the birthplace of aviation, as you know. And so we're very excited here at Glenn Research Center and out at Plumbrook Station out near Sandusky for doing this testing and getting this hardware to the moon.
Yeah, I was going to say, you kind of said it right there, but why Ohio, other than it being, the birthplace of aviation? What makes Ohio so special?
Oh, why not Ohio? I mean, Ohio, literally the birthplace of aviation. And started with the Wright brothers. Neil Armstrong was from a little town of Wapakoneta, and so the innovation in flight here in the state of Ohio has revolutionized how we look at not only flight of aircraft but flight of spacecraft as well. We have at Plumbrook Station out near Sandusky, we have the only thermal vacuum chamber where we can fit an entire spacecraft inside of it and put it into vacuum and actually thermally control the environment as well. And we can bombard it with electromagnetic interference as well. So we can fully test out a spacecraft before it goes to space. And it's the only place on Earth where we have this chamber.
So you're essentially troubleshooting now for any issues that you can get up once you get up into space, correct?
Absolutely. We operate under the old adage. I remember there's a quote I saw from Abraham Lincoln. Of course, that's when they chopped down trees with an axe. And he said, if I were given 6 hours to chop down a tree and an axe, he said, I would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. And so that's what we do at NASA. We test our systems to make sure they're safe because it's very important to us, the return mission as well. You remember back in the 60s when President Kennedy gave us the charge, we'll go to the moon, we'll send people to the moon and return them safely to the Earth. And so that's the hard part, really. And we could send things to the moon, but getting them safely back to Earth as well. So sustainability, sustaining life, sustaining our equipment on board, all very, very important. And this is a proving ground for that equipment right here in Ohio.
So sustainability, how long what's the goal here? How long are we trying to stay up there?
So we're trying to develop in situ resources. So what we know and what we're doing on the space station right now, we're pushing the limits of what we know in our technology. And oh, by the way, the end user of this technology is back here on Earth, on planet Earth, because we know the magic of NASA is when we discover a spark of an idea, a spark of innovation in one particular area of science, it can become revolutionary and sometimes a completely different area of science. And so everything that we're doing in the way of sustainability, life support systems, if we find water, that's why we're so excited about we have found water, ice water in the recesses of the south pole of the moon. And when we can harvest water from the environment, from not only the regolith, but actually ice water on the surface, water is H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. So we have equipment that we're testing right now on the space station. We can take that water, we can drink it, so we can sustain life, of course. And we could take that water and peel off the oxygen and breathe it. And then we could take the hydrogen and use it as rocket fuel.
No kidding. That seems like
Absolutely.
Science fiction that's becoming actually
it is.
Like actual reality.
It is actual reality on the space station as well.
Oh, that's cool. So as far as the public and anybody here in Ohio, can we see what you're doing? Is there any way for us to kind of, before we launch everything off, can we see it?
Absolutely. The best place to start for folks here in Ohio, of course, throughout the state, we've got 124 companies throughout the state of Ohio that are contributing to this space exploration mission. From the four corners of the state, we have folks that are contributing. And then we have the central location here at Lewis Field of NASA Glenn Research Center, which is sort of co-located at the Cleveland Airport. And then west, about 50 miles west in Sandusky, near Sandusky, we have Plum Brook Station as well. Now, those are obviously places that we do very intricate space testing, and you can come to visit those places. But the best place to start is the Great Lakes Science Center in downtown Cleveland, right near the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and right near Brown Stadium. And you could come down there and visit us. It's where the Glenn Research Center is. I'm sorry, the Visitor Center is for the Glenn Research Center. And we can set up talks with children, talks with kids of all ages, and we also do technical talks and collaboration there as well. And then we can bring that to Lewis Field and on out to Plum Brook as well. So the best place to start is at the Great Lakes Science Center right in downtown Cleveland.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, we got a couple minutes left here. Anything else you want to add?
Just excited to be here. I actually am a flown astronaut. I spent most of my career as an astronaut at Johnson Space Center in Houston, and now I'm detailed up here to NASA Glenn Research Center, and just thrilled to be here. I love working here. It's a great environment, and it's really, really a fascinating place. Unique hardware here, unique wind tunnels, unique space environments, testing chambers and things. And so it is exciting to be here in Ohio. And anything that's going to space and going to the moon has to come through Ohio first.
Awesome, awesome. We were out there for the morning show. We did some live stuff out there with the wind tunnel and all kinds of stuff about a couple months ago. So I'm very fond of NASA Glenn. If you guys ever need any meteorologists,
I should say,
let me know.
Absolutely, Trent. And I should say, in reference to your previous question, this center, everything NASA owns belongs to the American taxpayer. So this belongs to you. This is your Artemis mission. This is your space station that we have in orbit. And so we want to share that as best we can with the American public and share it with our children and our next generation to inspire them to carry this torch and pass the torch to them to carry it to the moon and on to Mars as well.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to talk with me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trent.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Thank you. You as well. Thanks.
Hi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Adriana Michaels, and I'm a reporter with WLIO in Lima, Ohio. How are you today?
Hi, Adriana. I'm well, thank you.
So
I've been to Lima, Ohio. I went to a concert there many years ago at the fairgrounds.
Yes, our fair here, I think, is the second largest in Ohio, so it was a big deal.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's been a few years ago, but I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland, and I just caught the tail end of you talking about how a lot of stuff goes on at the Glenn Research Center. Is that what you're talking about? At the Cleveland Airport. So I have friends that work up there, or friends' parents, I guess, that work up there, and the Science Center and all that kind of stuff I've grown up around that, so.
It's really cool. It's really cool. I'm kind of transplanted here. My wife is from the Akron area, though, so she's back home and thriving back in Ohio, and so the Glenn Research Center is actually, if you've ever flown in and out of Cleveland Hopkins Airport, it's across the runways from the commercial terminals, and so everybody can always see, like, hey, I saw a big hangar with a big NASA meatball on it, so and that's our little billboard out there on the west side of the runways at Cleveland.
Yes, I actually have seen that. I've flown a lot out of there, so I just have a few quick questions for you.
Sure.
I did a little bit of researching on Artemis, is what this mission is called.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So have you been in space, to the moon and stuff like that?
Yes. So I have not been to the moon, but I've been in space, and I've been up twice to space. I went up first on the Space Shuttle Discovery in 2007 and did 3 spacewalks to construct the International Space Station. And then 3 years later, in 2010, I went up on a Russian Soyuz rocket from Kazakhstan, and I lived on board the space station for 6 months, and then came home in the little Russian capsule and landed on land over in Kazakhstan. So I know what it's like to live and work in space, and most of what we're developing to go back to the moon and on to Mars is being developed right now on the space station.
Amazing. Okay, and are you planning on traveling with this next mission? Are you one of the people that's been selected to go up?
I would love to be. I would love to be. My last name is Wheelock, and everybody calls me Wheels at NASA. I've been an astronaut since 1998, so 21 years already. And a couple of years ago, the younger astronauts started calling me Papa Wheels, so I knew it was probably time for me to maybe fade into a mentorship role, which I've really, really enjoyed. And so it probably won't be me going to the moon, although I would be the first to volunteer for sure. But I'm enjoying training our younger astronauts that are just coming into the system and just now getting their first flights on the space station. I'm helping them in teaching them how to do spacewalks, teaching them how to live and work and survive in space, and it's quite enjoyable, actually. So I wish it would be me, Adriana, but chances are I'll probably be helping the others go as well.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. Honestly, this would be an incredible career. But also, one of my next questions was, how long are your journeys typically, and how long in specific would this journey be?
Okay, so the initial missions to the moon, we're going to build a sort of a mini space station. It's like a refueling point for us to. It's going to be in lunar orbit, so it's going to be in orbit around the moon, and it's going to be sort of a polar type orbit, so it'll have sunlight most of the time, and be facing the Earth most of the time as well. So, and we're going to go to that outpost and spend some time there, and then do missions down to the surface of the moon. And so these initial missions will be just a handful of days, maybe 5 to 15 days, something like this, these initial missions. As you remember, our Apollo missions that went to the moon were roughly a week a week to a week and a half. So it'll take 2 to 3 days to get there, 2 to 3 days to get back, and then the amount of time that we spend on the orbiting outpost, the lunar orbiting outpost, and down on the surface will be a handful of days as well on these initial missions. And of course, by 2028, we want to develop a sustainable presence on and in orbit of the moon. And so those missions will be quite a bit longer, maybe even similar to the time we're spending on the space station now. So we've had missions on the space station anywhere, my mission was 6 months, but they've been missions anywhere from 3 months to a year, to about a year on the space station. And what we're trying to do as we do this is replicate a mission not only to Mars, but a long duration mission to the lunar surface as well. So there's a method to the way that we're flying folks in space. So these early missions, first boots, first woman and next man on the moon, will probably be a week to 2 weeks, couple of weeks missions, and then those, as we become more sustainable on the lunar surface and in orbit of the moon, there'll be longer missions.
Amazing. And you mentioned that this is the first woman and next man on the moon. How do you think that how do you think this mission would be the next step in history? Like, obviously that's a huge step, is sending a woman to the moon, but like, what else would add to this?
So I think it's very important for us as not only as humans, but it's just important for our spirit. Our natural spirit as humans is to explore, right? So and we've named the Artemis, how we refer to Apollo. Artemis is actually, in Greek mythology, is Apollo's twin sister. So and there's no surprise that we've named our next mission after that Greek goddess of the moon, actually. And so Artemis is the name of our next great adventure. And it's full inclusion of everyone now. Now, back in the old days, during Apollo, and actually our original astronauts were all test pilots, right? So they were all, a lot of them had military background, test pilots. And we've kind of evolved to a point now where we have mostly civilian scientists and engineers that are involved in the program, and we have a place now, and it's been a development of of course, in our human history, where women have taken a leadership role at NASA and on our spacecraft as well. So it's a very exciting time. So.
Yes, I agree. And what about this trip makes it so significant? Like, what are the goals and why, basically? Why is
so?
This?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a great question because I think as humans we think about, when we think about, landing a boot on Mars. Let's say, 15 years from now we see the first boot print on Mars, and sometimes we as humans we focus on that as like, well, what's the importance of, seeing a human face or a boot print on the surface of Mars? Well, that in itself, when you look at it, it's like, but it's what we discover all along the way about ourselves, because everything that we're doing at NASA, everything that we're doing, including exploring space, is to learn more about how to take better care of ourselves, take better care of each other, and take better care of our planet. That's the end game for us here at NASA. And so in the process of doing that, because we set these bold goals, because right now we can't do it. We don't know how we're going to survive on the surface of Mars. We don't know how we're going to take enough food or grow enough food there to survive. And so right now it seems like an impossible dream, but the pathway of getting there is all about, that's where the magic of NASA comes into play, because history is replete with a spark of innovation in one area of science sometimes becomes revolutionary, not only in that field of science, but maybe in a completely different field of science. And it takes this spark of creativity, people facing challenges like, we don't know how to do that, so let's figure it out. And in the process of doing that, we stretch the boundaries of what we know in technology. And by doing that, we create a better life here on Earth, better take care of our planet. And we actually get there, and by the time we land a boot on the moon, we think to on Mars, we think to ourselves is like, wow, how much we learned about ourselves and about our systems, about our technology. And what we're doing right now on the space station is all about recycling, right? So we need to be better about that here on Earth. And everything that we're testing out, we recycle every drop of water on the space station. In fact, we have a joke on the space station that yesterday's coffee is tomorrow's coffee. And it's quite true, but in the process, we recycle everything. We recycle all of our air, we recycle all of our water, and we're turning that technology back to technologies here on Earth to take better care of our planet as well. So the end result is to make life better here on Earth as well.
Awesome. That was amazing. That was exactly the answer that I was looking for. So I think I am good with my questions, and I thank you so much for your time today. These were very informative, and it's actually very interesting too. So,
Adriana, it's very nice to meet you. Say hi to all the great folks in Lima.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.